Are you listening to me when I'm talking to you? Said together we're one, and divided we're through. So you hang on to me, and I hang on to you. Said together we're one, and divided we're through. Ooh, divided we're through, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Enough said.
Let's just hope for the rest of it.
Really? Well, you know, I got to say something, you know. Well, I want to tell you a little story, actually, about Shake. I met Shake back in the 70s. I couldn't tell you exactly what year, probably about 78 or 9 or somewhere in there, down in Houston, Texas. And just really fell in love. And he was playing one of the little piano bars down there. I don't remember which one, but just really liked his music and fell in love with it. I've still got one of his early LPs, and I meant to bring it today so he could sign it for me. I'll have to get him back so I can get it signed. But I kind of lost touch with Shake after moving out of Texas and moving away, but I still would listen to the LP every now and then, and I just loved his songs, and just what a wonderful, inspirational songwriter. He actually helped me with, I was trying to do some songwriting back then myself a little bit, and he gave me some tips on some things on a couple of my songs, and just really liked him, but lost touch with him. And was John Connor and I were doing a jam night. Some of you came to, we just got together and did playing some stuff, and he played this song, and I'm going, wait a minute, I know that song. What do I know? He says, well, it's Shake Russell. And I'm going, oh yeah, Shake Russell. I hadn't heard about you in quite a while, and so glad to reconnect. And so John says, well, you know, he lives down in Houston. We should talk about getting him up here. So he sent an email off, and sure enough, we did some arranging and things, and we were able to get him scheduled in. And so happy to have you here, Shake. Thank you for sharing your gifts with us. Yeah. Hope to have you back again. Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been talking a little bit about, I came across an article some years ago that really has been an inspiration for me and helped me in a number of different ways. And last week I started off talking about tips for traveling through troubling times. Isn't that a great title, though? Tips for traveling through trouble. Yeah, what's it?
Alliteration.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. This is part 2, so we're going to talk a little bit more about some ways that can help us to move through some of the challenges in life. Anybody ever had any challenges? Anybody had an experience of having the world not be the way you think it ought to be? Life turning out in ways that you hadn't planned? You ever had those? Yeah. Well, we all have that. We all have those kinds of experiences, and we tend to have, you know, we're not too happy about it. We have all different kinds of ways of trying to deal with the world not being the way we think it's supposed to be. Marshall Rosenberg, who is a developer of nonviolent communication, calls those catastrophic strategies for getting our needs met. We all have these catastrophic strategies. You guys know which ones we're talking about, right? The ones that we think work, you know, are going to get us what we want and what we need, but wind up usually, sometimes it'll get us what we want in that moment, but usually they backfire on us on some way. Marshall Rosenberg, I love his work and his teachings, and one of the things he says, you know, I can make my kids do whatever I want them to do, and they can make me regret it. And that's the truth, isn't it? We sometimes think that we're trying to make the world be the way we want it to be, but I can tell you the world will make us regret it sometimes. And so a lot of our work is not necessarily trying to make the world be the way we want it to be, but to allow the world to unfold in ways that are perhaps sometimes more than what we envisioned, perhaps more than what we understood, perhaps more than what we really can comprehend. And so when we're finding ourselves, anybody ever dealt with stress before? Yeah. We all do. We all have our stresses, and our stresses primarily are coming from this belief system, this idea that we have to get the world to be the way we think it's supposed to be, isn't it? If you're saying no right now, you're doing it. So in John 16:33, it says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. One of my favorite verses. Take heart, for I have overcome the world. I like this verse for lots of different reasons. One, it is a message of hope. It's a message of awareness also. And it's a message of ways of overcoming the world. It's a very simple message. Take heart. He didn't say, take head. Figure it out. He said, take heart. I think it's important for us to recognize that overcoming the difficulties and challenges in our life will not come about, as Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same kind of thinking that created the problem in the first place. And most of the challenges and difficulties that we find ourselves in our lives are because we are trying to fix what is. And part of our work is to learn how to shift. So, what we have a tendency to do is look at a situation or circumstance in life that is challenging and difficult, and when we find that there's really not anything that we can do to change what is, we tend to actually give up oftentimes. That's one of the main things that we do. We tend to give up. We say, well, it's just the way it is. And, you know, there's a difference between giving up and giving up. Can you recognize that? There's a difference between surrendering and letting go and giving up, which means to really give over to something higher and greater than what we imagined for ourselves. So one of the first steps, I came across this article I was telling you about by Bill Harris on tips for traveling through troubled times, and it's been an inspiration for me. And one of the tips that he gave, he said, focus on and take action on what you can do and not on what you can't do. Let me say that again. Focus on and take action on what you can do and not on what you can't do. Our tendency is to focus on our helplessness. We tend to get involved in blaming others. I mentioned this last week. One of the first tips was when you find yourself going through troubling times, the first thing to do is stop blaming. Because the moment that you blame, you're actually putting yourself in a position of helplessness. You are automatically saying, I am a victim of this circumstance. And that consciousness, of course, is one of the things that tends to create more experiences for us of that feeling of helplessness. And so what he's saying is you need to shift your energy and awareness from that energy into an awareness of, well, what is it that I can do? What is it that I can do? Focus in this way. Tagore says, you can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. I love that saying. You can't cross the sea by simply standing and staring at the water. So he's taking two things here. Focus on and take action on what you can do. Two things. Shift your focus from what you can't do. Shift your focus and take a step. Even just taking a simple step toward what you can do will begin to shift your vibrational energy, won't it? That's what we talk about in the Abraham Hicks work. It lifts your vibrational energy. The fact that you're focusing on something that you actually can do shifts your energy so that you are vibrating at a level of what's possible. And you're moving from the energy of helplessness into the energy of hopefulness. And the energy of hopefulness creates more experiences of hopefulness. It's just the way this system works, isn't it? So the second thing he says is focus on and give thanks for what you have and not on what you've lost. Focus on and give thanks for what you have and not on what you've lost. Anybody ever experienced loss? I know that's a rhetorical question for those of you who didn't know that. We've all experienced loss. We've experienced lots of different kinds of loss. We've experienced loss in ways that are of material things. We've lost relationships. We've lost people in our lives. We've lost jobs. Anybody lost a job? We've all lost jobs, different ways. Sometimes because we made the choice, because we had to. But we've all made shifts in our work experiences. So anytime you find yourself in a place of loss, one of the things that you want to begin to do very, very quickly is begin to shift your energy and your focus away from that feeling and that sense of loss. Some years ago, I decided to invest in a business opportunity that seemed really very, very exciting. I was very excited about it and really was very gung-ho about it and was really enjoying going into doing this. And I invested in this company that I thought, and the products that they had I thought were exceptional. And I was really getting benefit from many of the products and things. And after doing it for a year or two, found out that the president of the company was indicted for fraud for many of the promises that had been made in the company and the ways that things had been run and that sort of thing. And the company basically folded. And I was out of quite a bit of money and quite a bit of time and energy. And it was frustrating, it was painful, it was hard, and I was really kind of struggling through that experience. And I was reminded of this idea, this understanding of shifting from the feeling of loss to an acceptance. And then also, one of the things that came to me, and I think I got this probably from Eric Butterworth. No, I think actually it was Catherine Ponder. He said, when you find yourself in a place where you're experiencing loss, in your own thinking and in your own feeling, tithe that loss to the universe. In other words, change your thinking about the loss and make it a gift. And if you can change your thinking about the loss and make it a gift, the universe will respond to you as though it is a gift. Spirit will respond to you in a way that is a blessing. And you will find that things begin to shift and turn around for you. Because the energy that you have about the feeling of loss is going to draw to you more of the experiences of loss, right? But the energy you have about giving it, the universe loves a cheerful giver. Spirit loves a cheerful giver. God loves a cheerful giver. And if you can shift your energy about that and say, okay, you know, that's done, that's that. I'm blessing it and sending it off with my blessings, knowing it's going to do work somewhere, some way, somehow, that I can't imagine, can't see, but I'm blessing it and sending it on, and knowing Spirit is going to take and use that as a gift. And if you do that, you will find that your energy shifts, the circumstances shift, and you'll begin to see opportunities and experiences that you never saw before. Not much longer after I decided to work with this idea and this principle about the loss that I had experienced, I got calls from about 4 different churches saying, hey, we're interested in having you come and look at our, be our minister here. Would you be willing to apply? I had really not put out any resumes at that point. I hadn't really been thinking of anything, but things began to shift for me very quickly. And I began to feel and experience myself moving into ways and opportunities that I had not seen before, that I might not have seen before. And the universe will respond to that energy. It will respond to your heart's intentions and your heart's desires. And so if you hold on to the loss, Spirit says, okay, well, that sounds like that's what you want more of. Here you go. But if you're willing to shift and be willing to give that out as a tithe to Spirit, you'd be amazed how things change for you. So the next step, he says, is do all that you can with what you have. Do all that you can with what you have. You say you don't have the tools or the resources, the help that you need to move. Resolve to do the best that you have with whatever is available for you. Again, the universe responds more to an experience and an energy of having than in a way that provides more experiences of having than it does to an experience of lack it will respond in the same way, let's put it that way. If you have the energy of feeling lacking, you're going to experience and see the world through those eyes, and you're going to draw to you more experiences of lacking. But if you're experiencing having, you give thanks for what you have at that time, and you focus on what you have, and you give thanks for it, and you appreciate it, and then you utilize whatever you have in order to make that difference. Einstein said, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of our true art and science. I need to shift gears a second here and grab some other notes. Julie, would you get my book down there? Thank you very much. So focus on what you have and appreciate what you have and use what you have the best of your ability in that moment. A couple was strolling along on the ocean beach, and they noted a bottle floating in the water. They waded out toward it and saw that it was a bottle containing a note. And they eagerly went and opened it, excited about the possibilities of what could be in there. Perhaps someone was needing assistance, you know, and so they saw the note, and then the note said, I'm marooned on a tropical island. There's no pollution, no traffic, no noise, no politicians, no guns, no taxes. Eat your heart out. Focus on what you have and appreciate what you have in the moment, and the universe will provide ways for you to be blessed by that. You could be in that same situation and think, well, I don't have my TV, I don't have my cars, I don't have my, and feel lack, and you will not experience the blessings that are possible, that are there for you. So number 4, Bill Harris gives us a tip. When you're in that place of being challenged in life, when you're in that place of experiencing troubling times, look for ways that you can help others. Look for ways that you can help others. I gave this quote last week, and I'll give it again. Tagore said, I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. How many of you, when you heard that letter from Mrs. Pincus, wasn't her name, Rose, didn't you feel, those who had got to participate in that, didn't you feel the joy of being able to make that difference in someone else's experience, in someone else's life? I know it brought tears to my eyes and helped open my heart even more to the opportunities that we have to be of service to each other and out into our community and out into our world. It absolutely automatically lifts your vibration, your energy, by simply taking a step to help someone else, to take us out of ourself, to help. When we find ourselves in troubling times, one of the things that we have a tendency to do is to constrict inward, don't we? We tend to be trying to look out for our own needs and our own personal taking care of number one kind of thinking. And there are times that that's appropriate, don't get me wrong. It's important for us to take care of ourselves. But sometimes we can move into that energy so much that we're really losing focus on the possibilities of good that we are and can be in the world. And by taking a step, even just a simple thing, sometimes just driving down the street and you see someone out there with a sign, if you've got a quarter, give them a quarter, give them $1. It will help raise your energy vibration, and it'll help raise their energy vibration. It'll help them to move into a place of it won't necessarily take them off the street. No, of course not. But it helps raise the energy and the vibration of gratitude in yourself and in them in such a way that we are shifting the energy with those two people and helping to raise the vibration and energy of the planet. The other piece of this is, the other tip that he gives is to help others to see the light. Help others to see the light. It's oftentimes when we find ourselves going through dark and challenging times, it's really easy to get focused on the dark and challenging times and to think, oh my gosh, things are really horrible and they're getting worse. when we really need to be thinking about what are the possibilities that can come out of these experiences. Gandhi said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Crisis itself feeds on fear. You realize that? Crisis itself feeds on fear. So helping others look for that seed of possibilities, the equivalent of a greater benefit that could come from even the challenging circumstances and situations. Helping others to see their possibilities and to see the possibilities of a greater good can actually help us to see those possibilities even more as well. So look for and seek out and find a greater way of expressing and experiencing the good in your life and then also in the lives of those around you. I came across a story. There was a poor guy, a pitiful guy that kind of had gone through his fiance broke off his engagement and just shredded his heart, just tore him up. And later he received a letter of apology and a desire for reconciliation. And it read this: "Dearest Jimmy, no words could ever express the great unhappiness I felt since breaking our engagement. Please say you'll take me back. No one could ever take your place in my heart. So please forgive me. I love you, I love you, I love you. Forever yours, Marie." Oh, and P.S., congratulations on winning the lottery. Now, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. But it's important to look for the good, wouldn't you agree? It's important to look for the positive. It's important to look for that and also help others to see and look for the possibilities of good that can come out of this. One of my favorite sayings is, I can't wait to see the good that's going to come out of this circumstance. Can't wait to see the good that's going to come out of this. Everything, always and everything, give thanks. And know that everything does work for good in some way, in ways that are beyond our understanding, perhaps. And then, the last tip of this second phase, you might say, when you find yourself encouraging in challenging and difficult situations, when you find yourself experiencing perhaps a loss of some kind, when you find yourself going through troubles, one of the things that we encourage, and I encourage you to do, is to let go of the what if. Let go of the what if. We tend to get stuck in and caught up in, well, what if this had happened, or what if that had happened, or what if this happens, or what if that happens. Focus on what you want in the circumstance. Focus on what you really want to experience more of. What you can get and do. There's no value in worrying about the future. There's no value in putting energy and fear into the what ifs. Think of the potential challenges, but only to help you make plans for what you're going to do next. So don't put a lot of time and energy in those, but use those as a way of making a plan and making a decision about what is your next step, and let go of the what ifs. Because the what ifs, one of the biggest things about what ifs is most of them don't come about. And we spend a lot of time and energy focused on the what ifs. We waste a lot of time and energy doing that rather than thinking about what's the next step, what's the possibilities for here. And is there something that you can't do anything about, surrender to it and move on. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's a powerful prayer, a powerful awareness. And take steps on those things that then you can make a difference in. So those are our tips for this week on traveling through troubled times. I hope you'll find that as you go through the week that you'll remember some of these steps and some of these tips and remind yourself of ways that you can overcome. Jesus said, take heart. Take heart. I have overcome the world. If you remember no other tip that I've shared today, I hope you'll remember that one. Take heart. God bless you. Let's move into our thank you. All right, let's move into our meditation time. If you've got something in your lap, gently set it aside. Take a nice deep breath. Breathe into the heart space. And gently breathe in and out. And as you breathe in and out, let's take the words of that song. Today is the day. Right now, this moment. Breathing in and out, I release the past. Breathing in and out, I release any cares or fears or what-ifs about the future. Breathing in and out, I listen for what is possible, what I'm being called to do today. I focus on what I can do, what steps I can make, what good I can share, what help I can give, ways that I can be a blessing and be blessed by sharing the blessing. Today, I allow myself to be the change that I wish to see in the world. I let my heart be opened a little bit more. I let my eyes see the good. I let my thoughts be thoughts of love and peace and possibilities. I give thanks for what I have today. No matter how I might have thought about it before, I know it is all a blessing. And I will experience that blessing. And I will send forth that blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. Take a nice deep breath now. Let your heart be full of that feeling and knowing of blessing, of well-being, of good. Take another nice deep breath. Let your eyes gently come open and be present here and now. And so it is.